Let's talk about embodiment and what that can truly mean for your life. I am Molly Knight Forde, founder of the Awareness School. There's a lot of talk about embodiment. And I want to give you my take on something that I have practiced for a very long time that allowed me to break out of my comfort zone, to experience things that lurked in the shadows for me, to face fear, and to actually feel. Now, I've always been an empath, meaning my experience of life from a very small child was reading the emotions and the climate of an environment and feeling like it was me. And it took a long time for me to discern the difference between me and not me. It wasn't until years after I had done this work in embodiment that I could actually understand that I was out of my body. And as a kid, some of those symptoms of being out of my body were not this experience of flying around out in the heavens, not at all. It was that I could not experience life from a tactile and kinetic and place with my body involved. It was very mental. It was very detached. I couldn't feel much. And I'm sure that from whatever environment I grew up in, as maybe you can relate, that it was much easier to go right on out and walk through life in a way that didn't experience pain and fear. And so it was a great mechanism. And being out of your body can be a very dangerous thing because we do learn how to bypass our own emotions. And maybe it was just to avoid having the influx and the incredible sensitivity to everyone around you. If you are an empath, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it may be that many of us, whether we consider ourselves empaths or not, experience our environment and it feels threatening or uncomfortable or overwhelming. And so most of us have learned to not integrate our experience through our body. Now, as a child, I also was very drawn to yoga and body activities. I was very sports oriented. I did gymnastics. Later on, I played the piano, became a professional pianist. That's a very physical activity. I even found a show on TV as a little kid that was a woman doing yoga. I remember she had this big fat braid down the side of her head. And I thought, oh, this is so great. And I would do yoga from the TV. And so it was inevitable, really, that I would be attracted to yoga and to meditation. Being really inclined to a very spiritual and affinity for the unseen world. And so, yes, that helped, but it was in the moment of doing those activities that I was more in my body, but I wasn't experiencing life in my body. And it wasn't until I learned the practice of sensation, which is what I teach as a basic foundation in all my courses with all my students, and really the way to embodiment, which is what people are talking about all the time. It's almost like the collective knows we need to come into our body and experience this liaison between heaven and earth. We are the liaison, and if we are embodied, we can feel, we can love, we can face fear. So for me to begin to experience being in my body by increasing my attention, by being able to hold my attention in a place upon my body, to relax my body while I was doing another activity, to be in stillness, not in yoga or just meditation, but out in life, walking the dog, doing the dishes, cutting a carrot. If I could be aware of the sensation of my body, the life force, the presence, something more began to happen to me. And as I practiced this and practiced this for years, something began to open up for me to be able to see the amount of shame and unworthiness with which I lived, and which really lurked behind so many of my choices, my relationships, and the way I was approaching life. So, embodiment is truly the awareness of sensation in our bodies while we are out in life. And to practice this over the course of time brings us out of our comfort zone, allows us to see the things that have been pushed down in the shadows. So I encourage all of you to pick up this practice of simply relaxing the body, becoming aware of the body as a practice of presence. Have a great week.